The Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power on Prime Video transported viewers back to Middle-earth in 2022, while focusing on a teenage Galadriel during a turbulent period in global history. Season 2 of the show is set to debut on August 29th. In less than 2 minutes of video, the teaser provides many more indications. Even though the first season introduces Sauron and starts the making of the titular rings, setting up the confrontation that Middle-earth is going toward. The Rings of Power Season 2 will provide something fresh, while tying into well-known Middle-earth legends with the introduction of new monsters and new faces for existing ones. The trailer for Season 2 of the show looks exciting and gloomy, with fighting, flames, and magical explosions in the not-too-distant future.
With me. Fight!
Welcome to Movie Spy. The Rings of Power will be distributed in Season 2. The Rings of Power highlight the ones that the One Ring dominates, even though everyone is familiar with them. There are many rings to discover. Ultimately, 9 went to men, 7 to the Dwarf Lords, and 3 to the Elves. Even though Season 1 got things started, not everything was produced. Nevertheless, the teaser depicts the adoption of 4 of these rings, 3 of which are worn by elves, and 1 of which is held by the dwarf during Roman 3. Celebrimbor, the elven smith who made the rings under Sauron's influence, seems to see a figure coming out of the flames, as if these appearances were not enough to hint at the ring's ongoing development. In the tale by J.R.R. Tolkien, Celebrimbor is taken prisoner and forced to fashion the rings. Given that the teaser for the Rings of Power depicts a disheveled Celebrimbor throwing a number of rings into a blazing fire, he might suffer a similar fate. Given that the show is named after them, it should come as no surprise that Season 2 will carry on the production of these rings. Yet, the teaser implies that their significance will increase as the story progresses. In The Rings of Power Season 2, Sauron returns in a new form. Even though it was revealed at the end of Season 1 that Halbrand, Galadriel's ally, was truly Sauron, it does not follow that the Dark Lord will be operating openly in Season 2. He must instead create a new identity, which is supported by Vickers' appearance in the trailer, which was designed to resemble an elf, and the voice of a terrified woman declaring, "I think he has been here among us all along." Given that Sauron assumes the guise of Annatar, the Lord of Gifts, in Tolkien's The Silmarillion, his new look is particularly noteworthy. As Sauron manipulates everyone around him once more for his own purposes, this narrative will provide a fresh connection to the original material. However, Sauron might not be able to carry out his plan for long, because the trailer closes with the elves being cornered before cutting to a magical blast that unveils the tower, Barad-dûr. A Balrog is emerging, and Khazad-dûm is under danger. Of course, there are more threats in both the trailer and Season 1. The dwarves awaken the Balrog under Khazad-dûm as they pursue their goal of mining mithril. As Durin 4 states in the teaser, "An evil, great and powerful, has returned." Even if there are other resurfacing evils, Durin's comments imply that Season 2 will focus more on Khazad-dûm's downfall, particularly because a fleeting scene in the teaser depicts a bridge falling in the city. Fans of The Lord of the Rings will recognize Khazad-dûm, and this specific Balrog from the Fellowship's foolish expedition that ended with Gandalf's demise. The Dwarven city is in serious peril if this monster can defeat Gandalf. When will we eventually learn who the stranger is? The stranger's identity, which initially seems to be none other than Gandalf the Grey before he receives the well-known moniker, was the greatest enigma of Season 1. When he uttered, "Follow your nose," one of the character's catchphrases from the Peter Jackson movies, the show essentially verified his identity. The last time the character was seen, he was traveling across Rhûn with the cunning Harfoot Nori. The teaser does not feature many Harfoots, but it does feature an appearance by the stranger, who uses a staff to cast magic in a desert. This gives Astari, who still needs to learn how to use his skills, a taste of what is to come. However, one of the 3 enigmatic ladies who were pursuing the stranger has returned, or at least their cult has, so he is not the only mystical figure to make a reappearance. Before he banished them to the unseen world, these individuals thought him to be Sauron. In the teaser, hands wearing identical robes are seen casting a spell with moths, resembling the creatures the ladies transformed into at the conclusion of Season 1. It appears that this enigmatic organization is still around, and perhaps Season 2 will provide more details. There are new monsters and new threats in Middle-earth. Some threats may not be recognizable as the teaser introduces viewers to 2 new species: a massive water beast that appears ready to devour a human, and a creature in the forest that reaches out via creeping roots. Galadriel, Elrond, and a few other elves confront the new enemy in the shape of a tree. A growing danger in the forest may make the sluggish shepherds important to the plot, especially if Middle-earth decides to hold them accountable. This monster is a far cry from the Ents, who are more recognizable to viewers. Some have linked the sea creature to Khazad-dûm, the Watcher in the water that the Fellowship meets outside of Moria, so it might not be completely new. Although, to be honest, we do not know much more about this monster. There is not much evidence of it other than the fact that both of these animals had tentacles. In the trailer, a woman appears to float in front of it, although it is unclear who she is. These creatures are simply one more illustration of how evil is spreading over Middle-earth. The mighty eagles have returned to Numenor. The great eagles have not done much in the Rings of Power, despite their brief appearance at the start. But the teaser depicts an eagle traveling to Numenor and appearing to be associated with Pharazim. Since the eagles are reticent to intervene in international matters, their involvement either demonstrates the direness of the situation or sets up the inevitable revelation of the eagles' motivations for refusing assistance. In any case, as the story develops and Middle-earth grows, these magnificent creatures are a wonderful addition. With Numenor facing destruction, the orcs at war, and the races of Middle-earth uniting to rescue their home, there is much more for the series to explore. The fact that this trailer only shows a few of the main characters indicates that the story is far from over. The forthcoming season appears to have an abundance of adversaries, indicating that the Rings of Power will not cease to astound upon its return.
Rise forth and shine.